that BBC employees lied and used fake documents to obtain the interview with my mother, made lurid and false claims about the royal family, which played on her fears and fueled paranoia.
The royal family has once again sent massive shockwaves across the globe. Prince William's latest announcement regarding Queen Camilla has left millions completely stunned, igniting a wild storm of intense speculation and heated debate. Could this signal a massive shake-up within the British monarchy? Is Queen Camilla's official role about to change forever? From tense behind-the-scenes whispers to jaw-dropping reactions, the entire world is on edge. In this video, we unpack those shocking details, exploring what this means for the absolute future of the crown, and reveal the truth behind William's bold statement exposing a bitter feud that never really faded. For decades, an intense, unspoken tension has lingered right beneath the polished facade of the British monarchy. It all started when Camilla's controversial presence shattered what the world believed was a true fairy tale: the troubled union between Prince Charles and beloved Princess Diana. What once looked like a flawless storybook romance quickly unravelled under the heavy weight of deception, heartbreak, and massive betrayal. The public watched in absolute horror as Diana, the beloved people's princess, was left to endure endless emotional turmoil, harsh public scrutiny, and a profound aching loneliness. Meanwhile, Camilla, once a quiet figure in the shadows, slowly but surely stepped into the glittering royal spotlight. Her transition was anything but smooth. For years she faced fierce public resistance, constant whispers of disapproval, and the deeply lingering ghost of Diana's memory. And no one felt this pain more deeply than Prince William. As a young boy, he had witnessed his mother's suffering firsthand, seeing the quiet pain behind her radiant smile, the deep humiliation of a royal marriage unravelling before the world's eyes, and the crushing solitude that followed. Even as time marched relentlessly forward, demanding that raw wounds heal and painful history be rewritten, William never forgot. Losing his mother in 1997 was not just a simple tragedy. It was a defining moment that left a massive, unfillable void in his heart. It was a deep wound that could never truly mend. And now, decades later, that very woman, once widely seen as the disruptor of his parents' marriage, has officially risen to the throne as Queen Consort. May thy servant Camilla, who wears this heavy crown, be filled by thine abundant grace, and blessed with all princely virtues. Camilla's shocking transformation from royal mistress to monarchal figurehead has been absolutely nothing short of remarkable, yet it comes at a steep cost. With her newfound power comes constant, unrelenting scrutiny. Every single move she makes, every royal role she embraces, is closely examined through the lens of the past. But Prince William is no longer a grieving child watching from the sidelines. He is a grown man shaped by duty, experience, and an unwavering sense of responsibility. Responsibility to the crown, to his family, and most importantly to the lasting legacy of his mother. While the rest of the world may have moved on, he has never lost sight of what transpired. And as history writes a brand new chapter, he remains vigilant, absolutely determined that the mistakes of the past will never be repeated. What exactly has Prince William said about Queen Camilla? Let's uncover the dramatic details of Prince William's announcement that shook the entire palace. An announcement that shook the entire palace. For years, the grand halls of Buckingham Palace have echoed with whispers of betrayal, hidden rivalries, and silent power plays. But what could have possibly driven Prince William to finally break his silence and take a bold stand? Right at the heart of this unfolding drama lies a revelation so shocking and undeniable that it sent ripples through the very foundation of the British monarchy. A family secret long buried in the shadows had finally come to light, a revelation that forced the prince's hand, leaving him with absolutely no choice but to act. No longer willing to stand by as Camilla's influence grew unchecked, William took decisive, bold steps to protect his late mother's legacy and reshape the absolute future of the crown. Inside sources close to the royal family suggest that the prince's move was nothing short of incredibly bold. representing a direct challenge to Camilla's standing within the monarchy. It is rumoured that he has worked highly strategically to limit her royal authority, ensuring that her voice in King Charles's ear no longer carries unchecked weight. This situation, however, is not a mere personal dispute. It is a fierce battle for the very soul of the monarchy itself. By taking this stand, William has sent an unmissable message. The historic Windsor narrative will not be rewritten by those who once stood directly in the way of the people's princess. The shadow of Diana still looms incredibly large, and her eldest son is completely determined to ensure that her influence endures not just in memory, but in direct action. But what exactly did Prince William reveal that has left the entire world in shock? What decision did he make that has everyone questioning the ultimate future of the royal family? While the full details remain closely shrouded in secrecy, one thing is certain. This marks a massive turning point, a shift in royal power dynamics that simply cannot be ignored. Speculation is already swirling. Some believe Prince William is pushing for a reformed, much more modern monarchy, a new court that distances itself from messy scandals and those tied to them. Some believe he is quietly positioning himself for a much faster rise to the throne, breaking free from his father's royal shadow far sooner than anyone expected. No matter what the truth is, one thing is certain: this bitter clash between William and Camilla is no longer kept quiet behind closed doors. It has now flared up into an open power struggle, a fierce battle for influence that could completely reshape the future of the British monarchy. As this intense royal showdown plays out, the stakes have honestly never been higher. The ongoing tension between these two has slowly built up over a very long time. Let us trace how their complicated bond shifted over the years, looking closely at the evolving dynamic between Queen Camilla and Prince William. Their first meeting back in 1998 was incredibly awkward and anything but smooth. Back then, the teenage prince was still privately struggling with the devastating loss of his mother, Princess Diana. She had tragically died just a year earlier, and the deep wounds from his parents' messy 1996 divorce, following their highly public separation 4 years prior, were still incredibly fresh, and making things even more tense. Endless whispers persisted that King Charles and Camilla had been carrying on an affair while he was still married to Diana. Naturally, this dramatic history did little to win William over. Royal biographer Christopher Anderson, in an exclusive chat with Us Weekly, shared a vivid picture of their awkward first encounter. He revealed that Camilla was clearly terrified, her hands visibly trembling, describing her as shaking like a leaf during the encounter. As soon as William walked out, her intense anxiety boiled over, and she immediately asked for a strong gin and tonic to calm her nerves. It was a highly tense meeting, and certainly not the start of a warm bond between stepmother and stepson. But time has a way of changing things, and over the years, relations have reportedly gotten much better between Camilla and William. An insider close to the Queen told Us Weekly that despite their very rocky start, William did slowly start to warm up to her. They now have a family relationship. The insider added, indicating that after that rough beginning, they have managed to find some common ground. Even so, Camilla's path to being fully accepted by the royal household was incredibly difficult. Both William and his brother Prince Harry were fiercely loyal to Diana, and held a deep, lasting resentment toward Camilla, though their mutual distrust went much deeper than just simple childhood pain. The young princes were firmly convinced that she was the direct cause behind the tragic collapse of their parents' marriage. According to palace insiders, the young princes simply could not see her as anything but the woman who broke their mother's heart. Consequently, building a real, genuine connection with her was a massive uphill climb. Making matters even more tense was how Camilla dealt with the media, with a source claiming the brothers' deep distrust grew once they discovered she was leaking private stories to reporters, supposedly to polish up her own public image. The boys simply never felt safe opening up to her in any meaningful way. The insider explained that any hope of a warm relationship was ruined because they felt she valued her public reputation over actual family ties. Even with those old scars remaining, the passing decades have managed to soften some of the hostility between them. And though William will never hold the same deep love for Camilla that he felt for his own mother, it seems they have finally managed to build a basic level of mutual respect after a very long and incredibly difficult road to acceptance. But now, Camilla and William appear to have found a workable truce built on pure necessity time and the harsh realities of modern royal life. To fully understand the dynamic between Prince William and Queen Camilla, let's look back at the history of the previous generation, specifically examining the highly scandalous love triangle between Charles, Diana and Camilla. Let us take a deep look back. To really understand the sheer gravity of this royal mess, we have to rewind the clock to a time long before Camilla ever became queen. This was long before Diana's tragic passing and before the royal family became the heavily criticised institution we watch today. This is not just a story about duty and royal titles, but of deep love, personal sacrifice and unyielding tradition. Born on November 14, 1948, during his grandfather King George VI's reign, Charles Philip Arthur, George entered the world with his heavy destiny already written as the eldest son of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip. His ultimate fate as the future King of England was never up for debate. But what remained highly uncertain was where his heart would actually belong. Charles was raised under the very strict expectations of the monarchy, where personal happiness always came second to heavy royal obligations. Though educated at the highly prestigious Gordonstoun School and later at Trinity College, Cambridge, he was carefully groomed for leadership but secretly craved something far deeper: love, endless companionship and deep understanding. But in a royal world ruled by strict protocol, love was never a simple matter. Long before Diana Spencer entered the picture, there was Camilla Shand, a fascinating woman who completely captivated young Charles. With her quick-wit warmth and easygoing nature, their deep love was genuine, but any future together seemed completely impossible. Rigid royal traditions branded her totally unsuitable for a future king, and while Charles was away on naval service, Camilla moved on, eventually marrying Andrew Parker Bowles. Yet some deep love stories simply refused to fade. Even after Charles entered into what looked like a fairy tale marriage with Lady Diana Spencer in 1981, a balcony kiss that triggered an absolute roar of approval from the massive crowd who called the couple back. Yet Camilla's quiet presence never truly left his life. What the public witnessed was a picture-perfect royal couple, the dashing young prince and his beautiful glowing princess. But behind closed palace doors, structural cracks had already begun to show. Diana, universally adored by the public and hailed as the people's princess, quickly realized that she was sharing her husband's true affection. In a deeply heartbreaking revelation during a now highly infamous television interview, she candidly admitted, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." When asked if Mrs. Parker Bowles was a key factor in the ultimate breakdown of their marriage, she famously replied that there were indeed 3 of them in this marriage, making things a bit too crowded. The fragile illusion of a perfect royal union shattered before the world's eyes, and quiet whispers instantly became screaming headlines. Dark secrets spilled into the public sphere, and the fairy tale marriage that once symbolized global hope slowly unraveled in full view. By 1996, Charles and Diana's official divorce was fully finalized, leaving behind a broken family and a deeply grieving nation. But the most shocking chapter was still yet to come. Just a year after their separation in August 1997, Diana's sudden and tragic death in a Paris car crash completely shook the globe. The grief was immense, the loss immeasurable. The beloved woman who had captured millions of hearts was suddenly gone, leaving behind 2 young sons and a lasting legacy of deep compassion and resilience. And yet, through all the sorrow and public scandal, one thing remained absolutely unchanged: the lifelong bond between Charles and Camilla, a love that once defied the crown, surviving decades of cold separation media scrutiny and endless scandal. It was now only a matter of time before history would inevitably rewrite itself, allowing them to finally stand together, not in the dark shadows, but in the light of public acceptance. let's uncover the true details of the scandal that shook the foundations of the monarchy, a massive scandal that rocked the entire monarchy. For several decades, the entire world watched in absolute fascination as the British royal family faced one of its most controversial love stories. At the very heart of it all was Prince Charles, the heir to the British throne, and Camilla Parker Bowles, the woman who, despite decades of fierce public outrage, eventually became the Queen Consort. Their relationship endured massive scandal and heartbreak, and constant opposition from the highest levels of the British monarchy. But in the end, Camilla stood proud beside Charles as his loyal wife and queen. However, her long journey to the top was anything but a smooth one. The illicit affair between Charles and Camilla was an open secret that completely overshadowed Charles's marriage to Princess Diana, even after Charles and Diana finalised their divorce in 1996. And despite Diana's tragic passing in 1997, Charles and Camilla still remained together. Exactly 10 years after Camilla's first marriage ended and 8 years after Charles's high-profile divorce. The couple shocked the world by announcing their engagement. This news immediately reignited the public's long-standing resentment toward Camilla. For many years she had been heavily branded as the other woman in one of the most infamous love triangles in modern British history. Many saw her as the sole cause of Diana's immense suffering, and her presence inside the royal family was met with fierce public criticism. The public backlash was so intense that even Queen Elizabeth II was highly reluctant to accept their union. Tradition played a major role in this as well. Historically, it was heavily frowned upon for any member of the royal family, especially a future king, to marry a divorced woman. The monarchy maintained strict expectations, and Camilla's complicated past made her an entirely unfit match in the eyes of many. Yet despite deep opposition from the Queen, the public, and the Church of England, Charles remained absolutely steadfast. He was completely determined to marry Camilla. Eventually, Queen Elizabeth gave her reluctant approval, allowing the wedding to finally proceed. However, the immense grandeur that had defined Charles's first marriage to Diana was noticeably absent. Instead of a grand, lavish royal spectacle, Charles and Camilla exchanged their vows in a modest civil ceremony. Shockingly, even Camilla's own parents refused to attend. However, her son, Tom Parker Bowles, stood proudly as a witness, while Charles's eldest son, Prince William, performed the exact same role for his father. Following their wedding, the couple retreated to Birkhall Charles's beautiful countryside estate in Scotland. This is where they made their very first public appearances as husband and wife. But, despite Camilla officially marrying the Prince of Wales, a massive, glaring detail was still completely missing. She did not take on the legendary title of Princess of Wales. Even though she married Charles, she never inherited the late Princess Diana's beloved royal title. Let us examine the specific royal title Camilla actually received and why the whole issue was simply too controversial to touch. By centuries of royal tradition, marrying Prince Charles meant Camilla should have instantly taken the title that belonged to Diana, Princess of Wales. But because of the intense love the public felt for Diana and the lingering painful memories tied to her tragic death palace, officials chose to completely bypass any potential backlash. Rather than taking a title so deeply connected to the late princess, Camilla was instead officially styled as the Duchess of Cornwall. This clever move was not merely a sign of deep respect. It was a calculated PR strategy to prevent a major public outrage. Countless loyal fans of Diana viewed Camilla as a home-wrecker, a woman entirely unfit to ever step into the beloved icon's shoes. Even with all that public resentment, Camilla's status inside the royal circle grew stronger over time. As the partner of the direct heir to the throne, she instantly became the second most powerful woman in the entire British monarchy, ranking just below Queen Elizabeth herself. Queen Elizabeth II, who initially kept her distance from Camilla, gradually began showing real signs of quiet acceptance. In a powerful, highly symbolic show of royal trust, the Queen bestowed upon her the Royal Family Order of Queen Elizabeth, the second and incredibly exclusive honour meant only for female royals of the highest significance. Camilla was also gifted the spectacular Grail tiara, a shimmering family heirloom once treasured deeply by the Queen Mother. These steps marked a major turning point in her story. Behind closed doors, the family no longer treated her like an outsider. But away from the glittering palace ballrooms and private royal dinners, Camilla's public reputation remained deeply, painfully stained. For decades, the public viewed her as the ultimate villain in Charles and Diana's tragedy, and simple royal stamps of approval could not wipe away that burning resentment overnight. She knew winning over the sceptical British public would always be an incredibly tough battle. But instead of shrinking from the challenge, she chose to stand up and face it. So the palace launched a highly calculated public relations campaign, fully intent on transforming her image from the hated mistress into a caring, hard-working member of the firm. With sheer dedication, Camilla threw herself into endless charity work, embracing a public role that went way beyond standard royal obligations. She backed massive causes that truly mattered to normal people, heavily promoting children's literacy, shining light on the horrors of domestic abuse and funding healthcare. Serving as the patron of more than 100 charities, she worked tirelessly to prove that her new position in the royal family was built on real substance, not show. Slowly, her hard work began to pay major dividends. The intense anger softened, and the public finally started viewing her as a genuinely devoted, hard-working royal. Yet the powerful shadow of Diana's memory never truly went away. For many, particularly the most loyal die-hard fans of the late Princess Camilla's modern makeover, would simply never be enough. In their eyes, she was forever linked to the devastating heartbreak and gossip that ruined the family years ago. But despite that constant skepticism, Camilla managed to rewrite her place in history. Moving past the old scandals, she successfully built a brand new positive reputation for herself, a legacy defined not by past mistakes, but by decades of thick-skinned service and quiet, steady focus. But winning over the British public was only half the battle. Inside the palace, Camilla faced an equally brutal struggle for acceptance. We need to look at how incredibly hard it was for young William and Harry to accept her. Talk about massive family drama. For years, Camilla was fighting a war on two fronts, dealing with hostile headlines on the outside and icy stares inside the palace, while she slowly turned the tide with the British public, earning a level of respect that once looked completely out of reach. Her absolute hardest battle remained at home, where the two most critical people in Prince Charles's entire life desperately struggled to accept her into their family circle. Prince William and Prince Harry still carrying the incredibly deep wounds of their parents' messy divorce and the tragic sudden death of their mother. Princess Diana had absolutely zero interest in welcoming Camilla as their brand new stepmother. To the young boys, she was a constant reminder of the brutal chaos that had torn their family apart. Their father Charles tried over and over to heal the deep divide, desperate to build some kind of peace between his new bride and his boys. But his forced efforts only made the anger worse. Instead of healing the rift, the gap grew even wider, leaving Camilla feeling very much like an unwanted guest. Even inside the private walls of the royal estate, she was never truly welcomed. Although Queen Elizabeth eventually gave her official blessing, marking a major turning point in how Camilla was viewed at the very top, plenty of other royals chose to keep their distance. She never truly belonged to the monarchy's tightly knit inner circle, and doubts continued to whisper softly behind closed palace doors. True acceptance, it seemed, was something that would not be earned easily, no matter how many years flew by. Still, despite all the underlying tension and quiet disapproval, Camilla's role inside the royal family steadily grew. She performed her daily duties with quiet determination, slowly carving out a permanent place of her own. Over time, her real influence expanded, and in a dramatic moment that many viewed as the ultimate validation of her royal status, Queen Elizabeth made a truly historic public announcement. Once King Charles took the throne, Camilla would be formally recognised as his queen consort. To some observers, this was a shocking plot twist in a decades-long royal drama, proving that time could soften the most stubborn views. To others, it proved that, in spite of heavy pushback and the lingering shadows of her past, Camilla had not merely survived, but had actually triumphed on her own terms. This quiet climb to power behind the crown finally succeeded, though it also invited much harsher public scrutiny. Let us look closely at the fierce battle for real power behind the crown, the silent battle for the crown. When Queen Elizabeth II passed away in 2022, Buckingham Palace made the official announcement that Her Majesty, the longest-serving sovereign in British history, had passed away at the age of 96. The royal house entered a brand new chapter. Charles took the throne as King Charles III, while Camilla was formally acknowledged as his new queen consort. Yet with this higher status came fresh public scrutiny, and it did not take long before dark rumours began circulating about Camilla's true motives inside the palace. At the very heart of the drama were serious allegations that Camilla was using her fresh power to grab exclusive royal perks for her own children and relatives. Unlike the king's actual blood heirs, Camilla's own children, like her son Tom Parker Bowles, possessed absolutely zero royal blood. Still, whispers claimed she was secretly pulling strings behind the scenes to get them royal titles and push them closer to the crown. This bold power play faced fierce pushback, particularly from Prince William and Princess Anne, who both viewed the move as a highly dangerous overstep. Historically, the British Crown has strictly guarded the line separating direct blood royals from mere step family members. In their eyes, Camilla's push to slide her children into the inner circle threatened that crucial boundary, sparking deep fears about the monarchy's ultimate survival. A major clash erupted when Camilla reportedly tried to sneak her son, Tom Parker Bowles, into official royal gatherings, especially the traditional Sandringham Christmas walk. This annual walk, steeped in centuries of history, is strictly reserved for the sovereign's immediate blood relatives. Naturally, Prince William quickly shut down Camilla's request, viewing it as a calculated attempt to push her non-royal children into the family circle. The bitter feud between Camilla and William grew far worse when he took bold steps to dismantle her family's rising influence inside the palace walls. His most aggressive move was firing Camilla's sister Annabel Elliot from her highly coveted long-term role within the lucrative Duchy of Cornwall. Before that, she was a powerful figure running key parts of the massive estate. But as soon as William took control, he wasted zero time purging her from the leadership team. This secret battle for control behind closed doors showed a royal family in deep, unspoken chaos. Even though Camilla spent decades rebuilding her reputation after the explosive fallout of Charles and Diana's failed marriage, her fresh attempts to elevate her own relatives within the palace ranks reignited fierce debates over her true agenda. Was she just trying to protect her own children, or was she aggressively crossing the sacred boundaries of British royal tradition? To Prince William and Princess Anne, the choice was obvious. There was absolutely no room for compromise. As the crown adapts to the modern era, its survival depends on keeping a strict, completely unyielding hierarchy. In their eyes, Camilla's personal ambitions threatened that entire system, and they were fully prepared to fight back. If these bitter feuds will go on to reshape the monarchy's future remains a mystery, but one thing is certain. Behind all the glitz and glamour of palace life, the hidden battles for ultimate power never stop. Keeping the institution safe has always been Prince William's main goal. Let us examine the quiet war he has been fighting while preparing to take the crown himself. Prince William's secret battlefield. Standing as the future King of England, Prince William acts as a fierce protector of the royal family's ancient heritage. Bent on protecting those royal traditions and honouring his late mother, Princess Diana. From day one, his stance has been completely clear. He refuses to let the British crown drift away from its historic roots, and he won't watch quietly as outsiders reshape the whole system. One of the most sensitive yet obvious power struggles inside the royal family revolves around the rapidly rising influence of Queen Camilla. Even though she is officially just the queen consort, Camilla's real ambitions appear to reach way past simple ceremonial duties. Leaked reports suggest she has been working in the shadows, quiet but persistent, to secure a far more powerful role for her own family inside the monarchy. But Prince William has fought back against these moves at every turn, staying fiercely protective of his mother's legacy to keep Princess Diana's place in history untouched. His refusal to bend to Camilla's push to elevate her family's status has certainly not gone unnoticed. Honestly, the British public largely respects and backs his strong stance, seeing him as a future king who puts duty ahead of any personal alliances. Even so, tensions are still simmering quietly beneath the palace surface. Many royal experts believe Camilla's rising power, especially with King Charles dealing with major health struggles, has only made the demands louder for him to step down so Prince William can take over. People are whispering that her personal ambitions are totally unchecked, with rumours spreading that she wants to build a close bond between her granddaughter and young Prince George. A calculated play that, if true, looks like a direct attempt to weave her own family bloodline right into the future of the British monarchy. Right now, Prince William is standing firm. He has shown absolutely zero willingness to compromise when it comes to guarding the royal institution he is bound to inherit. But with King Charles facing these serious health battles and Camilla's grip on the palace growing stronger, the power balance is rapidly shifting. This intense fight for the future of the crown is far from over. Will Prince William's fierce devotion to tradition win out, or will Camilla's quiet influence remake the royal family in ways we never saw coming? Only time will tell if Queen Camilla will be remembered as a graceful royal consort or as the woman who changed the British monarchy forever. So, what are your thoughts on Prince William's shocking moves against Queen Camilla? Drop your comments down below and make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more.